Namaskar and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this 15th episode and the fifth one up north of the Diversey BW Hotelier GM Show series, session, season 2. It's a great session with a great topic and a brilliant set of general managers. I shall speak about them in a bit. This show is about responsible luxury, catalyzing hospitality revival through sustainable practices in India. That's an important topic. Let me first play up the video of our sponsors, our partners, Diversey. Thank you, Diversey. We're grateful to you for joining hands with BW Hotelier as our presenting partner to bring to our industry this wonderful series. We do this series virtually because it helps us to reach all general managers across the country and not take them away from their busy schedules by being present physically at some venue. We do it virtually. On the table, right through the series, are important topics, both current and futuristic, and we discuss them on this live open forum. The format of the series is regional. We move from the north to the west to the south, east, then we get into the northeast and central, and then take rounds again. And it's every Thursday and every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time. You could watch this series live or in recording at bwhotelier.com or our various social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Be there, follow us, encourage us, give us a gentle pat, and we'll bring you more such gems. Without much ado, let me now roll on with the show. The show, as the general managers wait. Let me begin with my good friend from Gurgaon, of a Sant Vihar boy, Rahul Puri. Rahul Puri is the cluster general manager for the Westin Gurgaon, New Delhi, the Westin Sohna Resort and Spa. Welcome to the show, Rahul.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Pleasure. Next in is my good friend again from Gurgaon, Norton Pereira. Norton Pereira is the regional general manager, IHG, and the general manager for the Crowne Plaza today in Gurgaon. Welcome to the show, Norton.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. Good to be here.
Such a pleasure. Next in is dear friend Rohit Arora. Rohit Arora is the area general manager, East India, is the area general manager for the Park Hotels. Welcome to the show, Rohit.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Khanna.
Yeah, thank you. The next is Harpreet Vohra. He's the area general manager East for Radisson Hotel Group, South Asia, and he's also the general manager for the Radisson Blue in Faridabad.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. Good to be here.
Last but not the least, my good friend from Greater Noida who came in from Mumbai, Sharad Upadhyay. He's the general manager of the well-appointed Crowne Plaza in Greater Noida.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh.
So, Sharad. All right. It's all about responsible luxury, catalyzing hospitality revival through sustainable practices in India. What we have set out to debate today will cover a broad spectrum of issues related to responsible luxury. Look, hospitality is all about luxury. Otherwise, you can go and stay in shared accommodations, in Airbnb or whatever. But luxury is what these gentlemen bring to their very best. And that's what we all pay for. And if it is luxury, sustainable practices within the industry are extremely important to sustain. This will also serve as a foundation for insightful discussions that will delve into the challenges, opportunities, and best practices associated with catalyzing hospitality revival through responsible luxury. Let me straight away get into the session with my good friend Rahul. Rahul, you've got a long question coming. There are two parts to it. Okay, permit me to begin. All right. So Rahul, introduction to responsible luxury. If you can please define what responsible luxury means in the context of the hospitality industry and its relevance to India, one. And two, the second part is about sustainable tourism. If you can discuss the concept of sustainable tourism, how it aligns with responsible luxury while showcasing its potential to contribute to India's tourism industry. Over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. And thanks for, just starting on straight from the word. And I would just start with, I know we all read about responsible luxury. We all practices. This is what is our daily practice now. I think it's already inbuilt into our culture as a hospitality industry. We at Marriott, at Westin Gurgaon, I'll just start with saying it's kind of becoming a buzzword in the hospitality now, whether it's the young, the guests who are coming in, or even as we speak to our corporate partners or social partners. I think responsible luxury is already getting built in to our what we do on a day-to-day side. And I'll be, as we go through our enhancements and as we go through our commitments, I think gone those days where some of the basics like, the whole room facilities and the recreational facilities and really what we offer in a hospitality from a typical hotels and restaurant is become kind of a baseline, but the edge is what we really do around responsible. I'm a numbers guy. I've actually collated some numbers before this this call, and I'm going to just speak through some of the specific numbers. One of the report which came out from Global Sustainable Tourism Council, they've actually predicted 6.7% annual growth in responsible luxury travel, and this is going to go upward single digit from 23 to 28. Quite interesting as they combine these numbers from OTAs like Booking.coms and a couple of other ones. The Sustainable Travel Report says that 81% of global travelers confirms that responsible luxury is important to them, with 50% of them says climate change has influenced them to make more sustainable and responsible luxury decisions, and about 62% of say they would stay in an accommodation who are really looking at that as a practice. And obviously they all want to contribute to the responsible, the sustainable, but not just around the whole commitment to what we offer. So those are promising numbers, and I think it gets discussed pretty much. I'm going to go straight on to your next question as well, which is also to do with sustainable tourism. And I can tell you that I think this is our time as we just look through an Indian industry, the strong economic incentive, plus a bigger opportunity around trendsetter. I think we as a hoteliers, we as an industry can really come forward and put this on a global map if we really all come together and do it. And I think across the board, as you look through the chains and some of my friends and partners on this calls as well, we don't see any chain who's not doing it to start with. We don't see any hotel, any of our hotelier friends we speak about not doing it. I mean, as we go meet around, there are few basics which has to be done. And I think there are enough and more examples to be, to be seen in the hotels, whether it's water bottling plants, whether it's EV, whether it's, eco-friendly papers as a basic stationaries we use, whether it's around the whole food wastage, whether it's around how responsible we are from the 24-hour operation every hotel goes through. And I think both responsible luxury and the sustainable tourism goes hand in hand. It's a deadly combination. I can just speak through this forever, but I can just tell you there are a few words I would use. This is a trendsetter for our tourism development. And I think this is our chance as a hospitality guest experience in general to stay ahead of the game and keep practicing, say, this on a day-to-day side?
Well said, Rahul. It's like you very well said, going beyond sustainability as a buzzword. We can do this better without compromising on luxury. Luxury is all in the mind. And first of all, you've got to know what luxury is. And how do you step up and match what the guest expects and why he came in? That done, yes, taking care of basic wastage and controlling it or stop generating is part and parcel of the game. And you guys, nobody knows it better than you all. Thank you for this. Let me now get and roll with the next question, Norton. Are you there? All right.
Yep.
So Norton, coming from sustainability to environmental impact, if you can explore the ways in which luxury hotels can reduce their environmental footprint through energy conservation, water waste management, and eco-friendly practices. And if I was to bring in the second part of the question, local sourcing, highlight the benefits of sourcing products and services locally to support communities and reduce the carbon footprint associated with transportation.
Okay, so Bhuvanesh, I'll again, like earlier, I'll split it into two parts. But what I will start with is the fact that IG has its own sustainability program. It's called Green Engage. It's meant to support our hotels, measure and manage their impact on the environment. So hotels can basically choose, it's got over 200 green solutions that are designated to help them. So the hotels have got a great backup system in place. And in addition, IG, they continue to implement a 2030 target, which they intend to deliver 46% absolute reduction in carbon dioxide emissions by then. So this is across both our managed and our franchise estate. Now to come to your first part of the question, I think eco-friendly, split across three parameters. The first one is going to be an energy conservation for sure. In that a lot of us, practically everybody on this panel and across who's listening through, renewable energy resources. I think we're all doing solar panels, wind turbines, whatever we can do, geothermal. Besides energy efficient appliances, I think now as we grow and as we are coming back, we are going back to refurbishing or purchasing energy efficient equipment in our hotel, whether it's HVAC, whether it's lighting systems, smart technology. We as hotels, IG, other brands as well, smart room controls systems, which basically are intelligent enough to manage energy when the guest is in and out of his room. And of course, LED lighting. I think that's something which is already done and dusted, but we need to continue to sustain. Waste management, the second aspect of eco-friendly. Recycling programs. The hotel IG and the entire the hotels across SWA, the segregation part is in place. I will continue to say this to my teams and to the other hotels as well. One is having the process and the other is executing it. Sometimes somewhere along the line, we tend to get a little lazy in there, and that's what changes the game. Composting, another aspect. Single-use plastic. I think that's something that's picking up across brands. Food waste reduction, like Rahul mentioned. And one thing that IG has moved ahead across SWA, bulk amenities. We no longer use the single use and throw amenities in the bathroom. I think that's a big saver. Eco-friendly practices, third last point, water conservation, landscaping and green certification. I think these three aspects are here to stay. We need to keep pushing it, accompanied with educational initiatives. This is for the team and for our guests. I think it's a combined effort. And sometimes when we realize, when we actually explain this to our guests, there's a lot of acceptance. Everyone knows it's primary. It has just one reason and one goal. It is to protect the planet. So consistent staff and team and training and engagement. I say ensure sustainability is embedded into the culture of our hotels. Talk about it every morning meeting. talk about how you can strengthen what you're doing. I think that's one. The second part about local sourcing. I'll give you an example. I recently opened a restaurant, which we spoke about before, Kansa. During the planning of the restaurant, the ownership along with IG and the hotel team, we focus on how we can use sustainable products when we build this restaurant. Let's try and stay away from not sustainable products. So we went with steel, glass, marble. Kitchen is completely PNG powered. My F&B team, kitchen team, purchase team, they're constantly working with the local suppliers within the community. Every job order given out to build that restaurant, and a lot of money has gone through it, it has been executed by local craftsmen. We didn't go beyond NCR. This has resulted in a lot of job opportunities for them and livelihood. So besides that, I think environmental benefits, reducing carbon footprint, quality and freshness of product produced when you go with the local guys, because there's no transport involved. There's no refrigeration risk involved. So all that saves on energy. And of course, you have a cultural connect. You're suddenly speaking to people, to the local community. And these become stories in our restaurants. The staff tell guests how they're buying it, where they're buying it from, how it's cultivated. This, in my opinion, Bhuvanesh, is something that all of us could do. Some of us are doing, but we could do better as we go about.
You know, you and Rahul have spoken about some very important points. But it gets easier from us because now our guests, and especially the younger one, the current generation, they're very well aware, they're very alive, and they're very conscious, and they don't mind speaking their mind.
Yep.
So waste generation control is an extremely important, if you can measure what you're wasting on a day-on-day basis. See, we need to get better. I don't need to talk to people who can talk to the world, right? So, all right. So Rohit, if I may come to you. So tell me about inclusive practices. Before you begin, Park has done quite a bit. You know, I'm, for instance, privy to that market that you guys put up every weekend.
Right? Yeah, that's right, sir. That's a farmer's market, which...
farmer's market, so you may want to talk about that also. All right. So can you explore strategies to make responsible luxury more inclusive? One, ensure that local communities and employees benefit from hospitality growth. Two, and my next part of the question is about cultural preservation. Discuss how luxury hotels can contribute to the preservation of local cultures and heritage through responsible practices.
Well, good evening all. Good evening, Mr. Khanna. So we, at the Park Hotel, we follow broadly 4 strategies to answer your question. So one is like local employment and emphasis on training. The second is the cultural sensitivity and preservation. And the third one is fair wages and benefits. And the fourth is transparency and accountability. So, to how we responsibly delivering all this. So I'll explain one by one. So, we recognize the significance of empowering the local community through employment and skill development. Our commitment extends beyond simply hiring individuals. We implement training. We have our own institute of training, which is in Navi Mumbai, and we also have the training cells at each hotel. And we implement training and skill development program aimed at enhancing the employability of local residents. What do I mean to this? That we give them training to an extent that they're hired, they get skilled and get a better position in the luxury hospitality sector. Secondly, the culture sensitivity and preservation. So at a hotel, culture sensitivity and preservation of local tradition are just not ideals. They are fundamental practices. We place a strong emphasis on training our staff to interact respectfully with guests and community members, ensuring that every interaction is a positive and enriching experience. Additionally, we embrace the practice of diversity and inclusion. This is, we believe that our diversity is our strength, and we celebrate richness it brings to our establishments. So this diversity and inclusion, which is a buzzword, people are talking about it, but yes, we are able to implement it also. Third, in terms of fair wages and benefits, so we at the Park Hotels are unwavering in our commitment to fair wages and benefits for all our employees. Our compensation packages meet or exceed industry standards to ensure that our team members are not only valued, but also can enjoy a decent quality of life. So work-life balance in terms of compensation, in terms of the daily work pressures which we all go through. Moreover, we provide ample opportunities for career growth and advancement within the organization. And we believe in nurturing talent from within and providing our employees with a clear pathway to climb the career ladder, thereby fostering a sense of loyalty and dedication. So, to most of you, I mean, maybe knowing it or not, but I am the live example for that. So started my career with the Park Hotels and still at the Park Hotels after 35 years. So I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, and that's what the Japanese do, by the way.
Anyways, and the last one is transparency and accountability.
Yeah.
So transparency is a value in our business operation. We believe that trust is the foundation of any successful relationship. And we maintain transparency in various aspects of our operation. This includes financial practices where we adhere to strict standards of accountability, ensuring that our resources are allocated efficiently and responsibly. And the last, the company's ethos believe in 3 Gs, which is growth, governance, and green.
So I asked you about the farmers market, right? So is that still going on?
No, Mr. Khanna, means the farmers market post-COVID is not there, but I am planning to restart this winter again. So just for the benefit of all, it is we used to do a Sunday. On every Sunday, we have given our poolside area to the local farmers, and there's no intermediary which involves in it. So they used to get their product.
And these are all organic producer. Yeah.
All organic producer.
All right, good. So I won't let you advertise because I'll have to send you a bill. But yeah, I'll now move to the man in Faridabad. Well, we all know Faridabad is an industrial city, and it does quite a bit of pollution for the NCR. So let me now take in carbon neutrality with you, right? So tell me if you can discuss the concept of carbon neutrality and the steps luxury hotels can take to offset their carbon emissions.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. Thank you for the question. And before answering that question, before coming to your question, I just want to thank you for bringing all of us on this platform, taking our points, thoughts, suggestions. It's indeed a great initiative by BW Hotelier and yourself.
That means a lot.
And it is always a pleasure to interact with you. Now, coming back to your question, not only Faridabad, but other cities also contribute to carbon emissions.
Yes, they do.
But that said, let us understand, climate change is a global issue. And that is affecting communities, lives, businesses, economies all over the world. The World Economic Forum has now ranked climate action failure as top global risk, demonstrating the urgent need of governments, businesses, people to act on it. Global emission of carbon dioxide, and as Rahul mentioned numbers, global emission of carbon dioxide has increased by 50% since 1990. And more notably, our sector, hospitality sector, contributes to 1% of carbon emission. And this is set to increase. Hospitality, like other industries, has to take the responsibility to manage the impact on our planet. Now, before we go to carbon emission and how we offset it, let us understand how do we contribute to this? Yeah. So these emissions primarily stem from energy usage, including electricity, consumption, heating, cooling, water usage, waste management, transportation, a bit touched by Norton as well. So let me first explain you how we can reduce it and what are the steps that most hotels are taking, and great to hear, various brands that are taking those initiatives. Let us understand, what is it that hotels can do to offset this carbon emission? Norton spoke about energy efficiency. Yes, that's point number one. Let's implement energy efficient technologies, which most of the hotels are doing, and practice to reduce consumption of lighting, heating, cooling, and equipment. Renewable energy. Invest in renewable energy sources, solar panels to generate clean energy at site. Carbon offsetting programs. That's another thing that we can do to invest in projects that reduce carbon emission. Renewable energy sources, reforestation, waste reduction. Waste is another big aspect, that leads to carbon emission. Minimize waste production through recycling, composting, reducing single usage items. Water conservation, a big ticket item here as well. Implement water saving measures. Most of the hotels are doing it. Technologies that are available to reduce consumption of water and guest usage in your landscape, in public areas. Transportation is one aspect, wherever possible, at least in resorts and tourist destinations, wherever possible, give eco-friendly transportation, electric vehicles, bicycles. Educate guests. Again, one of my colleagues touched upon that point. Educate guests about hotel sustainability efforts. Encourage them to participate in eco-friendly practices through in-room collaterals. At Radisson hotels, we follow green housekeeping, wherein we encourage guests to use the same towels, same linen, not let the room be serviced every day. That way, we extend them a benefit of X% of discount in food and beverage. Now, it helps us in two ways. It ensures that guests go to the restaurants to avail food and beverage and utilize the discounts that we give, and it also offsets the carbon emission. And last but not the least, and very important aspect is staff training. One of the most imperative thing is in reducing carbon footprint is to train your staff, because at the end of the day, these foot soldiers are there at helm of operations. They need to practice sustainable practices to ensure that everybody is contributing to the hotel's carbon reduction goals.
Yeah, thanks. We as guests, I count myself as a guest when I'm talking to you. I think we also need to be a little conscious. Just because we are paying a few rupees for our stay, unlike we do at home, we stay in our own homes, doesn't mean that you get all your linen changed every day, right? We don't do it at home. Why should we do it? Why should we do it or expect it in a hotel? So my first instruction when I get to the hotel is do not change my bath and bed linen till I don't check out. Don't do it.
Fantastic.
Right? Don't do it. Why should we? You just dress up my room, clean it up, right? And also at home, we've now moved from combustion engines to electric, right?
Fantastic.
So where my last car stands, which is to be sold anytime, and we are all electric and no candlestick lights, nothing, completely LED. So yeah, these steps that we take in our own lives, if we take them in our own lives, we can serve good lessons to our office, in your case, your hotel. So last but not the least, before the first half ends, after this, Sharad. Sharad, Greater Noida would be a huge change after Mumbai. But yeah, Greater Noida has done quite a bit to undo the environmental damage, right? So tell me, biodiversity conservation. Explore the significance of preserving local flora, right? I've seen what you do. And how luxury hotels can contribute to biodiversity conservation. And that's the first part. The second part is, of course, everybody's spoken about it. Norton spoke, Rahul did. Plastic-free initiatives. Highlight efforts to reduce plastic waste through single-use plastic bans. recycling and the use of biodegradable alternatives. By the way, I just came from outside. We guys don't allow plastic bags. They still do.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Bhuvanesh, for the question. And considering that we're talking to the hoteliers, I will be assuming that I'm trying to pass on a little bit of 2 cents that I know to the fellow hoteliers who are probably watching this or will watch it later on. I think on the face of it, Bhuvanesh, I think luxury and sustainability, it sounds like an oxymoron. And people don't believe that sustainability and luxury can go hand in hand. And like Norton said, I think invariably all the brands, big or small, are already doing it. I have a slightly different, in terms of thought process. It's less to do with just the climate change. The climate change is a result of a group of scientists who about 40, 50 years ago used to talk about the ice age coming back, are the same people who are talking about, our oceans probably depleting in a couple of thousand years from now. So regarding, leaving that besides, why should the luxury or the large hotels be concerned, Bhuvanesh? Let me give you a little bit of a data, and I'll be probably repeating what my colleagues have already told this, right? Globally, the land that is utilized in the construction of a large luxury hotel, depletes a lot of biodiversity. Pardon me. Let me explain what biodiversity is in my understanding. It's a very complex but a non-negotiable ecosystem of all the life forms that exist on the earth, right? As in statistics, 70 to 75% of that life exists in our oceans and sea and aquatic ecosystem. About 1 to 5% is subterranean, which means under the earth, under the surface of the earth. And about 20 to 25% is what you will see normally around you. A handful of soil, Bhuvanesh, taken from an organic source has probably more number of microbes than the total population of the earth. That's the kind of life that's surrounding you. And the ecosystem, the biodiversity, the beauty is it's in such a phenomenal balance that each one is required for the existence of the other one. At a very basic level, biodiversity provides the food at your table. If something happens to the biodiversity, the first thing that you will find is, there's no food or less food. And we've seen this happening in so many parts of the world. Now, let me take you to some of the statistics why we should be concerned. As a data, we are the largest consumer of these resources produced out of biodiversity throughout the world. About 1%, my colleague Harpreet said, the CO2 that's produced globally is a contribution from the large and the luxury hotels. About 218 kilowatt hour of electricity per square meter is utilized by the hotels, large hotels throughout the world. That's huge considering any other benchmark, right? We are one of the largest and the biggest consumers of water. On an average, about 150 to 250 liters of water per day is utilized in our guest rooms. That's massive. That's the fresh water. Luxury and the large hotels utilize about 5 million tons of plastic throughout the world. That's massive. And the curse that is there with the plastic, you need it, but you don't know how to get rid of it, right? 30%, again, another very, very big data is 30% of the food that is prepared in the luxury hotels goes all the way to the dustbin. 30% food is never consumed by humans. It goes into the dustbin, right? And imagine the kind of stress that creates on the ecosystem that we're talking about, the biodiversity, right? And at the first instance, I think, like all my colleagues said, the first thing is to educate not only our colleagues, but our guests as well, right? These days, like you said, Bhuvanesh, you are a very avid traveler. You are conscious about your contribution in a negative way to the ecosystem or to the environment. You're conscious. First, tell them, how they can be part of it. We can still find a balance between luxury and sustainability, but we need to tell them what roles they play, right? And then the second thing is identify how you can sponsor and support any hotspot that deals with biodiversity. I'll give you very quickly, since I have a limitation of time, I'll give you a couple of things that we do at the hotel. So in my hotel, there are about 50,000 plants and trees within the premises of the hotel. A lot of these plants and the trees that we have are very, very indigenous to Greater Noida, Noida. It's very important to have the indigenous plants because they are connected to the ecosystem of that locality. If you damage that, you damage a lot of on the flora fauna part, right? In the same form, we've tied up with an NGO called Safe Greens, which help us to plant and protect the trees in and around Greater Noida. We pay them. Again, these trees are chosen. We have chosen neem, jamun, and people. They are very, very intrinsic to Greater Noida, and they preserve the local tradition as well as the ecosystem and the biodiversity. And then they take care of this for about 2 years. We pay them something in our financial terms, but it's more about finding a partnership who can help us and utilizing our sponsorship. We've started utilizing the eco-friendly paints in our hotel. There's a company called Prakritik Paints. The beauty about these paints is there are no major trade-offs. They are equally good like any other commercial paint. The good thing is that they do not have any heavy metals and the arsenic. So when, that whatever is painted has a life, once it travels back to soil, it does less harm to the microbes there or to the plants, flora and fauna. We have, like a couple of our colleagues said, we've started making our own compost.
Keep an eye on time.
Yes. One more minute. I'm getting over this. Like somebody came and told us that the banana peels, you'll find it very useful yourself, Bhuvanesh, is very rich in potassium, right?
Yes.
And the potassium is one element that is required in the blooming of the flowers. So instead of throwing that in the dustbin, we've started making compost out of the banana pits. And we use that in our irrigation system, giving us a very, very beautiful landscape. So
plastics, come to the plastics.
Yes. So plastic is, I will not repeat. I think, my friends have already talked about this. The single-use ban is, I think, the single most disaster that has happened to the world. And we are the part from the straws to the containers. We are there. And the same thing, we have partnered with a company, Bhuvanesh, that makes fiber, the clothing out of the plastic bottles. The first set of t-shirt and shirts have already arrived in the hotel. So anything that you find plastic in the hotel can be recycled. We've gotten into that as well.
So you shouldn't have the plastics to give them for recycling one.
Yes, I think that's the prevention definitely would be better than cure.
So we've come to the halfway point. I'll just take a 30-second break. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Salman, can you bring in the Thank you, Diversey. I'll just take another 5-7 seconds. Can you bring in the Indian Hospitality Summit and Awards nomination notice? All right. The BW Hotelier IHA 2023 is just about 45 days away on the 20th and 21st of October, Friday and Saturday at the Pullman in New Delhi Aerocity. Be there, lock your time. But more importantly, file your nominations. The deadline is 4th of September. Let me tell you, 4th of September, there are 13 categories. I hope you've all nominated yourself. Be there, file your nominations. Very easy to nominate yourself. Go online. It'll take a maximum of 15, 20, 25 minutes at the outside, right? There's qualitative aspects, there are quantitative, and for certain levels, there will be video interviews. And this is the most honest and most open hospitality awards. Be there, win them, and get there. The award jury is headed by Mr. KB Kachru. The North is headed by Suresh Kumar. The South by Veer Vijay Singh. West Farad Jamal. And East by Sandeep Mukherjee. Thank you. Let's get back to the show. All right, Rahul, time to come back to you. Apologies, I had to take this break. There's some commercial obligations. Rahul, a very important part of what we're debating today is wellness and health, right? If you can discuss how responsible luxury intersects with wellness, offering guests holistic experiences that promote personal and environmental well-being, one. And the second part is educational campaigns. Address the importance of educating guests and staff about responsible luxury practices to create a culture of sustainability and diversity.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. I can just say both. I'm just going to go to the first part of the question, which is around really talking about responsible luxury. How does it intersect with wellness? We as a Westin hotel is a wellness brand, and I think it's a perfect question for me. We live by this literally every day, and I won't say not my partners. So I was talking about Westin Gurgaon in my first question. I'm going to just switch over to Westin's Sohna Resort and Spa, which is about.
Which is why the question to you.
Thank you. Which is about 40 minutes from where I am right now. And I would just give you one latest example, what the team started doing there from a wellness standpoint. I was there just about a week back, and I was walking into our spa along with my spa manager. And she was demonstrating a few things around how the scrub during the treatment or few other things have actually now turned more around homemade scrubs. And there is a full menu designed at that spa, which is a heavenly spa at the Westin Resort, where most of the treatment, and you could see that from a guest standpoint as well, they're actually opting that over a lot of other treatments they've taken in past. I'll give you a few examples. I know Sharad was talking about banana. There are these scrubs which are made with a couple of fruits together, and it comes in more around how they're using fruit-based scrubs, plant-based scrubs, and a couple of other things, which is not just good for sustainability into the whole wellness piece, but it's also good for the skin, which I've been told by the spa manager. I've not taken one, but I will be soon. But this was just one of the highlight over last 2 weeks as we live by the examples which came up, and I think it made our day in terms of what our teams are actually encouraged to do. I think combining a luxury experiences in our hotels along with really the sustainable piece around wellness, to me, I think it's a deadly combination. I could say that holistically because it's not just consciousness from our teams, from our associates on the ground, but it's also what we can demonstrate. I mean, we at Marriott, we've also got the toiletries which we're now using in our bathrooms from a wellness standpoint. It's all gone above sustainability. These are no longer those tubes and all which we used to use earlier and throw that into the bin. It's all now sustainable. Everything is recycled, and it's all adding up to wellness. Even there are downtimes in our spa where the jacuzzis and these water connections have been put on hold. When the spa and these wellness areas are not being used, and believe me, guests are not complaining. They would just come in about half an hour early, and they would request if there is one request there. And I think that links straight to how educated our guests and our teams are, our staff is. And I can tell you, an alignment between what they believe, what their behaviors are, and what they practice is already visible. And they're not doing it because they're supposed to, whether it's our associates or our guests. I think they're living by it. I mean, you yourself took some examples from your own home in terms of how much plastic you're bringing home. And believe me, we could just go around Zomatos of the world and few others. I mean, gone those days, they're delivering anything in plastic. It's all brown-based bags and everything else. And I think it's just happening. I kind of think we are in the mode right now where things are on an autopilot, which is a great news. And when I say that, nobody's trying to make it. I think it's just all happening. As you take a smallest decision in your hotel, it is but natural around sustainability. And I could just say that. I mean, in from an education standpoint, any new team member who comes on board, they have to go through in our hotels a program called Discovery. In that Discovery, obviously we talk about service cultures and everything else, but there is an important piece around sustainable, and it's all about how they behave in their locker areas, how they behave around the uniforms, how they behave around waste, and how they practice that on a day-to-day side. And I tell you, it's all magic at this stage. So a great combination of how our team members and guests are naturally behaving around sustainability, and we don't need to educate them. I'll be very honest. It's all there.
Rahul well said. We've got to go back 30 years to where we began as kids, right? We used to have that local Raddiwala, right? We used to give off our empty bottles to get refills, right? We have to be miserly. If I was to say that in Hindi, we have to be a bit conjuice, right? Our heart should bleed whenever we use these items which we'll throw away. I mean, Amazon has gone completely into, those thick recycled paper bags, right? Unfortunately, I was seeing Marks and Spencer hasn't as yet. But I'm sure they will. You were talking about scrubs. We used to have sponge guard scrubs. What is it called in Hindi? Tori?
Something like that. The dry tori.
The dry tori. So they were always there. We used to have those scrubs made out of recyclable clay, which used to call jamas, right? And you guys would do well, actually, if it doesn't cost too much. For somebody who's paying 10, 15,000 bucks a night, you might as well give them a hamper, and tell them, use this here, use this at home, right? So move on from your plastics and other fancy scrubs and get on to this. That entire pack will hardly cost you about 100, 150 rupees. But anybody who's staying a night or two or during the stay, give them that and tell them this is Marriott's way or IHG's way or Park's way or Radisson or, any other chain's way of telling them that, listen, this is one way of moving on. Right. So good. So I knew Sohna, Westin Sohna has a lot of hidden gems. So nice to hear them from you. So let me come to you, Norton. Right. Norton, talk about collaborations and partnerships. We can't do everything all alone. Explore how luxury hotels can collaborate with NGOs, with government bodies, and local businesses to amplify their sustainability efforts. 1, 2, let's also look, certifications and standards are important. There's no getting away from them. We need them. Discuss the relevance of eco-friendly certifications and industry standards which help promoting responsible luxury.
Absolutely, Bhuvanesh. So, without question, collaborating with NGOs and government bodies and local businesses, they can only enhance our initiative, which is the sustainability one. Out of NGOs, very clearly, that they are the ones who have the expertise and the guidance that we need, because they specialize in environmental and social issues. Hotels per se can actually gain access to their expert advice on sustainability practices and innovative solutions. Data research, being an NGO, they have access to a lot of data. They do a lot of research. We can use that data and research to make informed decisions, more realistic goals. Awareness and education, NGOs actually come forward and offer to create educational campaigns for both, the staff and the guests. We can actually use that part. Government bodies. Now that's a tricky one. And and it's important. While a lot of us might refrain or have reservations, but look at it the flip side. These are the guys who set the regulations and the standards. Collaborating with them will help you stay compliant. Now, there's the good side to it as well. I send my chief engineer every time there's a session organized by the BE. We send him off to attend. And he comes back saying, it's a good thing I attended because I had the option to voice my opinion. I voiced about what the hotels wanted to do and what they felt. And that could possibly influence the regulatory body in a manner which supports us. So at times, it's important to go attend these instead of staying away from them. Some of these bodies actually offer incentives. If you do so and so, initiative, they'll actually offer you something in return. Local businesses. I think supply chain partnership. There's nothing bigger than that. COVID brought us to a grinding halt. If any of us had local partnerships, or we did, or we utilized them, we would have sustained in a better manner. A lot of us relied on the main suppliers and partners, which had us, hand to mouth at the end of the COVID. And of course, community engagement. It's put all this together, you'll have amplified impact, knowledge exchange, credibility, trust, innovation. So my take, absolutely, there's a huge benefit from NGOs, local bodies, and the government organizations. Certification and standards, the second part of the question. I think the number one reason to me as a hotelier for engaging and obtaining the certificates and standard, it's a need for an external and unbiased lens to assess our hotels of the quality and condition. We are great at assessing our own products, but when you engage somebody who's got no bias towards you, that's when you'll get a true picture. Responsible luxury goes beyond our walls. It's not within us. So no better way to assure ourselves. What comes out of that? Clearly, third-party validation is better than we validating our own selves. It builds guest confidence. A lot of us actually use the certification to tell our customers that, hey, I'm certified by this body. I've got this certification, which is the FSSAI or whichever other certification. And storytelling. Again, I'll go back to storytelling. And that's where our staff come into play. They tell our customers, the ones who serve, the ones who check them in, the ones who clean the rooms, they actually end up telling the customer, do you know, sir, my hotel is certified by this. And the guest feels proud about this. So absolutely, put all together. And then finally, we've got media and marketing, which we like to flash it all over the place. So that's my take, Bhuvanesh.
Yeah, good. The certification and standards are pretty important to have, but somewhere we need to look within and challenge ourselves each day. This is where I was yesterday. This is where I need to get today and tomorrow. So much further. Rahul will agree with me because he's a Fauji's son. The Forge actually teaches you a whole lot about frugality, right? They get measured rations, right? Our parents, Fauji's, right? They had 2 or 3 pairs of dresses, right? And as many pairs of shoes, right? They kept them right through their careers and in the best of shape till their rank changed or their size changed. So Rahul will bear me out. Forge teaches you a lot. Somewhere we guys have lost those values. India had them more than anybody else. If we are conscious, it is thank you for the way our parents brought us up, right? So I think we just need to shake ourselves up. We need to just slap ourselves on the head and say, why did we lose this? We've always known this. Am I right, Rahul?
Couldn't agree more.
Rahul has been to that school. Great value system out there. And of course, Fauji. So time to come to you, Rohit. Rohit, tell me, I have a short but crisp question for you. Consumer demand. Explore how growing consumer awareness and demand for sustainable practices are driving the shift towards responsible luxury.
Well, thank you, Mr. Khanna. Most of it, my colleagues have already discussed it here. But, at the end of the day, today, customer is not only looking at the product, and they are looking whether the product is very luxurious or it is super luxurious. They also wanted to know that what kind of character that product has in terms of like Norton talked about the certifications. So we also the customer wanted to know that what all we are doing, what are we doing with the food waste, how we are recycling the water. So like today in our hotel in Delhi, so all the flushing and irrigation is through the recycled water. It is not that we are saving on the cost of it, but it is that we are saving on the fresh water. So many initiatives in terms of new equipments, in terms of, and then we talk to the guest. We say that it's, you may you may see a discolored water, but it is recycled water, and it has been appreciated by the guest also.
Yeah,
So
sure.
like this, like we talked about the straws and no plastic, and the credits. So we have a loyalty program, so we give credits to our loyal customer. So yeah, this is how we take the journey forward.
So tell me, Harpreet, thank you, Rohit. You have access to like all the other brands, be it Marriott, IHG, they all have access to the latest that's happening overseas, right? In fact, if I was to say India's better placed than these guys, tell me what about the global learnings that we have, trends, adaptation, and if we can explore how Indian luxury can draw inspiration from these sustainability trends while adopting them to local context. I mean, the global learnings.
Well, Bhuvanesh, you rightly said, in harmony with global trends, even Indian hotels, and I'm heartening to hear, what all other hotels are doing. Hotels in India are also placing a great emphasis on sustainability and responsible tourism. Many properties have started incorporating, and heartening to hear again from my colleagues, eco-friendly practices such as energy efficiency, waste management initiatives, locally sourced organic products. Government of India has earmarked this year as the International Year of Millets. Yeah. Farmer market, I mean, fantastic initiative. We also do it. So by embracing sustainable principles, these hotels aim to minimize their environmental impact and offer conscious travelers an eco-conscious option. How we can in India do this, though we are doing it, but let's see how we can draw inspiration from these global trends and adapt them into our own culture. So let's first talk about cultural integration. Hotels have now started incorporating traditional Indian design elements, right? Which emphasize harmony with nature. Using local material, traditional building techniques, indigenous landscaping that enhances the hotel's sustainability while preserving cultural heritage. Yeah. Renewable energy sources. Learn from the global trends of utilizing solar power, wind power, renewable energy resources. India's abundant sunlight can make good for all energy requirement. Our solar energy is practically a particularly viable option for Indian hotels. Yeah. Water management, which is what Rohit just spoke about. Hotels have started adapting water conservation practices and have ensured that the water scarcity issues are resolved. Rainwater harvesting, grey water recycling are initiatives that Indian hotels have taken to address this issue. Local sourcing, Norton said that he started a restaurant and ensured that everybody, the vendors were locally sourced. The same thing, the global trend of sourcing locally has now come to India, right? And that way we reduce carbon emission through transportation. Highlight Indian cuisines, like millet brunches. We do at our hotel, we do millet brunches, farmers market. We've done that. Rohit has started doing it. So these things minimize the hotel's carbon footprint. Sharad touched upon a topic of biodiversity conservation. Fantastic initiative. Leverage on global biodiversity conservation practices. Hotels can take areas, they can preserve local flora, fauna, adopt a garden. Hotels can, start indigenous plants, which is what Sharad spoke about. Smart technology, it's at our disposal. Adopt smart technology, use energy efficient lighting, smart thermostats, occupancy sensors, minimize electricity, minimize wastage, ensuring luxurious experience. Traditional practices, integrate traditional Indian practices like yoga or Ayurveda into guest experience. The wellness practices align with the sustainability values, and they resonate very well, and they're appreciated by both international as well as domestic guests. And public awareness, or the guest education, which is what we spoke about. Educate guests about hotel sustainability initiatives. Encourage them to contribute to reusing towels, conserving water, participating in eco-friendly activities. So like next time when you are in a Radisson hotel, you'll feel at home, because we follow the same green housekeeping practice. We'll also offer you some discounts in food and beverage. So this way,
I'll go for free.
you're more than welcome. So,
No, well said, yeah.
but
All right.
blending global sustainability trends with local nuances, cultural nuances, will give Indian luxury hotels a new standard of responsible luxury. That way, you'll contribute to the nation's goal of sustainability, as well as give memorable experience to our guests.
Thank you, Harpreet. That's valuable. I shall sum it up after this last question, which I'm going to push to Sharad. Sharad, let's talk about long-term vision. If you can tell me about the potential long-term benefits of responsible luxury, including improved brand reputation, guest loyalty, and employee satisfaction. You're muted.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. I know we are pressed for time, so I'll try to sum it up.
We've
I
actually
think
covered up.
the good part about being the last one to answer your questions is a lot of these answers are already probably answered by my preceding colleagues. A lot of insights, a lot of learning from all of them, from Rahul, Bhuvanesh, Rohit, Harpreet, and obviously Norton, who's my colleague here. The long-term vision is a company-wide vision that IG has, and we at IG, we call it IG Journey to Tomorrow, Bhuvanesh. It's basically a commitment to deliver a more sustainable hotel business. End of the day, the business has to go on. But how do you find the right balance between service, business, and the sustainability, so that at the end of the day, it becomes something good for our people, for our communities, and our own, the blue planet. And this is also aligned with the United Nations development plans, development goals for 2030. Very broadly speaking, these things are categorized into a couple of pillars. One is obviously minimize or lower our dependency on energy, reduce. So the hotels across the world, more than 6,000 hotels, have a targeted energy reduction goals. It's already, while the goal is until 2030, that's where we would like to arrive. It's already work in progress. So my goal, for example, this year is to find a reduction of about 4% compared to 2019 same period. And again, a lot of things, what Harpreet said, goes into finding ways of minimizing the uses, and there's plenty of opportunity there. The second thing is the waste management. I think the hotels invariably contribute to a lot of waste, and need not be only organic, inorganic, and the plastic waste. How do you find multiple ways of minimizing that waste? The third one is very big, is the water, dependency on water. How do you minimize the water? On an average, I think about 15 liters per minute of water is utilized from the rain showers if you go to one of the five-star hotels. Now at IG, we're trying to bring that to about 9 liters per minute. So these are smaller initiative, baby steps that we're taking. Collectively, it's going to take a couple of years, but I think we're getting there. I think one thing which I really want to talk about is the diversity and the inclusion, Bhuvanesh, which becomes a very, very big part when you would like to move towards our 2030 goals. Until and unless everyone in our society is utilized, collaborated, and involved, I don't think we'll be able to achieve there. It has to be a collaboration from across the parts of the society. So at our hotel, we have people from all different caste, creed, and color. We partnered with Noida Deaf Society, NDS, where we have hired about 20 people from different disability backgrounds, basically deaf and mute. We've also hired people from transgender communities to bring their perspective into our world.
Excellent.
Right. So until and unless the community as a whole is united, and then the communication and the education is delved upon, I think we will not be able to achieve. And to answer your second question, I think Norton has already answered that. How do you drive loyalty and the guest satisfaction? I think, loyalty and the satisfaction is the difference between what you expect and what you experience from a hotel is the difference. If the result is positive, obviously you're satisfied, you'd like to go back to that hotel, right? And a lot of, like you yourself started by the conversation saying that a lot of our guests are probably more aware of what they expect from a hotel. So if they expect that, and if they come and experience this, there is where the satisfaction and the loyalty kicks in. Right. And we do that through effective media, communicating with our guests, communicating with our own colleagues, and also getting a third party endorsement. Like for example, at ISG, we're working with Green Keys, right? It's a global benchmark standard where you come and get endorsed, accredited by a third party. So to sum it up, I think involve everyone, do whatever you can in your own space. Everything counts.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've had a wonderful session. I think you as general managers are better prepared to handle situations than people outside are. You know the burn, and you know how to slow down the burn, right? For me, for instance, at home, I've stopped keeping filled glasses for guests, right? So we keep the bottle, right, or the jug, and let the guest pour as much as they want. For instance, we don't fill the glass till here, we fill it till here, right? If you want more, fill in more. So these small baby steps, on how much do you cook? We don't let anything go into the refrigerator. Whatever is cooked has to be consumed. And we prefer live cooking. So live cooking, say the biggest wastage is from food and beverage, be it water. I mean, people will not let their drink finish, right? They won't leave it, they'll finish it all. So we need to get a little conscious. And yes, as general managers, you people walk around, talk to all your guests. So, and half the battle is won if you have that approach. Thank you all. I'm going to close the show, but I'll take a short break. I'll thank Diversey, promote my IHA, and then that's another 30 seconds. Salman. Thank you, Diversey. And now the IHA is just around the bend. Be prepared for it. File in your nominations if you want to win the coveted trophy. That's on the 21st of October, Saturday, at the Pullman. For that, you need to nominate yourself. You're a general manager, you're a front office manager, a rooms manager, or the chef. There are 13 levels. Nominate yourself. It's all online. It's extremely easy. Go ahead and do that. What are you waiting for? The nominations close on Monday, 4th of September. All right. Thank you. All right. And before that, let me also thank the BW team, Tanvi, Shweta, Deep Majumdar, Salman, Prashant, Kartike, Ajit, Saurabh, Amit, Nilesh. So all the words that you put in, all the words that you utter, they all get into tweets and get into the social media and the broadcast. There are a whole lot of our colleagues who are involved in them. It's always nice to thank them. Thank you all. And now, let me thank you, Rahul. Thank you for your time, for being there. You've been very gracious. So have you been, Norton, Rohit, Sharad, Harpreet. It's valuable to be able to share screen time with you, your luminaries in your own business, in your own light. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.